Nic Chahine, I gotta know your thoughts here on the price line. We were trading down 67 points here now, so it's come back here a little bit. Were you playing it, and what are your thoughts?
Yes, I was.
I know you were.
Well, only by lotto. My saying about earnings is just
Yep.
a coin flip. So I guessed wrong, but it was almost on purpose because it's been opposite week for me. Everything I guess, you have to take the exact opposite. So I had that caveat going. But I also, the most important part is I foresaw that they had to put a statement about weakness in Europe affecting their bottom line going forward. And indeed, they did, and that's what brought them down because the top and bottom line, the actual results were pretty darn good. I mean, growth is still there. It's not like they missed anything major, except they said going forward, we're a little more cautious. So the guidance bit them, and it's down pre-market, obviously. So my lottos are going to be torn tickets on the ground. I did give myself some time, but it's just a lotto, small, a couple $100 here and there. It's not going to make or break. I do it of a size where it's not going to make me cry over it. Yet it'll make me jump for joy if I hit it. So just exactly what it is, a lotto ticket. I like the company. It's just that they had to make a statement that's bearish because of the environment in Europe.
Yeah, you've been talking about that for a long time, and it had the run up, and I pressed you, yesterday, for a comment on it for the article. Are you looking at it now at this level? I mean, that's a
Yeah,
pretty big
yes.
drop.
That's how I trade Priceline. Whenever it makes its big move, I set a big position in it, and whenever it drops big like that, I sense to see where they want to take it as far as the candle goes and how it closes, or close to the close today. I may do it today. I may do it tomorrow. It depends on the environment because this is a potentially violent week with the ECB disappointing. But if it does disappoint, do we have more downside and oil? It's a big week. So I'm going to take my time, but I usually will go long it via a credit put spread. This is where it's a bullish position where you want price to stay away from your setup. So if let's say if it's at $1,130 a share, and I think that 1,000 is safe because it's going to bounce over 1,000, then I'll lay my line at 1,000. I'll say, okay, if it gets to 1,000, I'm willing to own it, and I'll put a credit put spread down there. And then if it doesn't come near it, I keep the money that I collect once I put the trade for
We
putting.
always we always talk kind of shorter term swing trade type strategies with you there, Nick.
Mhm.
Do you put on long term investments too? Like,
I
what do you
do.
think of Priceline like long term? Do you think
I
this thing is a higher stock?
Yeah, but there's no doubt in my mind that it is. It's kind of like a Google. I did that with Google last year whenever it got hammered. I don't remember exactly when. I sold naked puts in it, but they were like 20% lower after it got already hammered, and those were complete wins. I mean, I sold them for over $40 and they're like $5 to buy back. And they're leaps. So I went out into January of 2015, which was over a year from then, and I sold naked puts down there. I don't condone selling naked puts at all, but given that exact situation, I was pretty comfortable with it. Plus, I had a lot of shorts to offset, so it was a perfect setup. I would do the same with Priceline. I've done that before on the short side, where whenever it leaped up, I sold the 1,500, and somebody paid me $45 for those. In this case, if I wanted to go longer, I can go out into leaps and take a longer term trade, and I just go lower. I won't choose 1,000. Then, given the premiums that it carries, especially on a violent day like today, if it does move, I'll go a lot lower than that and be comfortable with a spread that returns, I don't know, 15% on money at risk. That's pretty darn decent, and give yourself another 20% buffer zone between current price and where your risk starts. That's pretty. I like those trades. They're set it and forget it almost trades. Like if you have a vacation scheduled, those are the trades you want to take.
Okay. What about Facebook here? Coming off the earnings, once again, guidance rules the day here. It's come back off the all-time high level, but kind of not acting like Twitter here and really breaking down, just kind of consolidating here. You think it's mustering, some strength here to run back up into the 80 level?
It should, but it's all market dependent. Everything is like it's everything's trading in the same direction and same stride. It's like organized. It's a well organized. I always say that it's a well organized market. Not to say it's a rigged market. It's a well organized market. I mean, Facebook seems to have the faith of Wall Street as far as management. Whether I think of it that way or not, I think they just have so many users, as they tell us, that it is a behemoth, and it's hard to mess it up with a billion users. Now, my doubt comes with what's a user. I'm on Facebook. I ever never use it. So, but I'm probably one of those billion users that they count. So it's a good company with good management, with good clientele and good ideas going forward. It's hard to be bearish that unless the whole market is going to fall apart. So I never trade the whole market if it's going to fall apart, but it is the same type of trade as a Priceline or a Google or an Apple. When they get hammered, you want to nibble long on them. You can do it by buying the stock or buying calls or buying call spreads or selling credit put spreads.
What about Baba here, Nick? We're looking at it just after the earnings report. It popped up to 106, popped under 100. Now it's back up over 100. Kramer was on Mad Money last night, giving an argument that this thing could be over $200 here within a year or two, which I don't know if that's going to be the case or not. But what are your thoughts here on Alibaba?
I hate to say it, but Alibaba is one of those things. Unless they're out and right lying to us, it's one of those Google-like trade. When Google came out at 89, I remember saying, "Oh, 89? Are you insane?" Oh, yeah, I was insane for not buying it at 89 when it first came on the market, right? So it's one of those things where you want to buy it and just forget about it. As a matter of fact, I was eyeballing it from my kid's account. He's 13, so I was just going to buy him everything in Alibaba. He's 13; he can recover from it, right? And not everything, but a good portion of his portfolio, put it on um, on Alibaba for the next year, for example, and see where it goes. Last night I bought some calls in it. They're going to be down today, but they're longer dated, so I'm just not worried about it. And as a matter of fact, I saw it at up 106.80 something. I was like,
Yeah.
whoa. When did they release the earnings? Did they? What's going on there? I didn't. I have not
Brent,
listened to the news this morning.
Brent, I think with the time, what was the timing of the Baba earnings? They must have come out.
Well, it's 7 o'clock,
Yeah,
quarter after 7.
I mean,
Oh,
just
okay.
look at the chart, and that's probably when that you.
Oh yeah, I see it. I see it. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. They must have came out right. I think they came out earlier, didn't they?
No,
Might have been slightly before 7. It was kicking around 7 o'clock. Yeah, and Rob Hood's confirming 7 a.m.
I see
yeah,
I see the release right at 7 a.m. Eastern.
yeah. No, I see it too on my chart. I mean, the movement is just at 4 o'clock my time, so it is definitely 7 o'clock. Okay, yeah. So longer term, I mean, how can you mess it up with all the numbers that they say they crank out?
Can you believe the numbers? Because we know we're talking China and we've had issues over there before, but this is a huge company. And we believe these numbers?
I mean, I have to assume. There you
Right.
go. Assume that they've done their due diligence, given that they're trading here now.
Yeah.
It'll be harder to get away with it than if they didn't trade here. And so I'm going to assume that yes, I can believe the numbers.
So you like it long term. Do you agree with Kramer? This could be over $200 in a couple of years?
I agree with Kramer that it should be
Oh.
a slam dunk buy.
Wow. So
whether-
we're all liking Alibaba.
Well, you know what? You got to join them. Otherwise, I'm looking like the only fool in the room. I've been I've been fighting the exuberance for such a long time, and it's been easy up until like 3 weeks ago when we decided to run to the moon in a moonshot after the bounce. Somebody keeps saying buy the effing dip, and it's like, what dip? I'll buy it. Just show me a dip. I mean, I can't see a red tick recently. Jesus, it's just very. And you know what? You guys were talking about oil earlier today. Uh, Oil may even fuel the rally today because it seems like the markets are trading with oil only sporadically. So if they catch it only on the upswings, then even though it's down to $75, $76 this morning, the oil is, if it finds footing today and it goes back up to 78, it may give the market a few points upwards on its back. So oil being down, in my opinion, is a good thing because it obviously more money in our pockets here in the U.S. and probably globally too. B, it's less likely to show up to increase inflation, which will put pressure on Yellen to actually do something about the rates and hiking them sooner rather than later. And the third one is the fact that low oil, if there are fears, then she's concentrating on more fear of deflation, which is more likelihood of QE. Now, this is far-fetched, but
You are live.
Uh-oh, what's
Is
going
that-
on?
I don't know.
You're live a long time.
Wait a second.
I blame Joel. I always blame Joel.
And when
you're
I'll
back-
blame.
oil is tremendous. And speaking of oil, by the way, if somebody asked me yesterday some trade on oil. I said, "Are you kidding? Oil is a rigged market." You remember what the headline was yesterday?
What was the headline?
Saudi Arabia sets prices lower for the U.S. and higher for Asia. Okay, let's look at the first part of the sentence. Saudi Arabia sets prices. Isn't that the definition of rigged? They set the price. Imagine like Apple setting the price of its own stock for the next couple of weeks. So I can't do anything with oil. When somebody can maneuver the price up and down like that based on whatever the heck they want, who knows what's in their head? So I'm out. I'm not trading oil.
What about Tesla? Going to report here tomorrow night. Are you trading Tesla, and what's your approach?
I have not traded Tesla, and my approach into earnings is always a coin flip. And my coin is broken, so I'm gonna call you guys and say, "What's your play on Tesla?" My stance on Tesla is going to be the short of the decade one day, unless they show me innovation. So far, I have not seen innovation. As far as Tesla right now, as far as this week's candle, let me zoom in on. It's got a downward trend with a lid on top, meaning that it's been trying to rally up, but it's making lower highs, and you can probably draw a straight line across the three peaks in the last.
I was just looking at this one and considering how much the market battled back, back to all-time highs. Very, very weak relative strength on this. I mean, we barely can't even get up to the 250 level. Came and fill the gap. So I'm kind of leaning a negative way on this one too. If it hasn't rallied now, I don't think it's going to rally.
Yeah, I agree with you. And technically, I see three lower highs as far as when it tries to rally back and it fails, and you can draw a line on the fail point trend. Now, the one thing I mentioned last time, a while back, whenever they decided on which factory, where to build their factory, whatever the gigafactory is, he made a statement, Elon made a statement that nobody picked up on, or at least not enough people that I heard or read. He said, "We didn't choose this location because it was best money. It was because they promised us the actual delivery date because so much is riding on it." It's like, this is a risk nobody priced. The fact that if there's a delay in the factory, it's going to impact their income tremendously, that he let go of sure money in order not to have that potential problem. So that scares me. So that tells me there's a level of risk that's not priced in there. And if they have anything wrong, anything bad to say about the timeline of the Gigafactory, I think it's going to be a sell-off. I'd win. I practice mixed martial arts every day, so I would definitely win.
We got. I think Ace was a wrestler in high school though. So you think the mixed martial arts, can win out over the wrestler? Let's take a vote here on the Benzinga news desk.
I have some good jiu-jitsu skills. I can hold my own. I can turtle up.
Oh man, I'm not.
That's from all that sandbagging you did when you were a kid, there, Nick.
Yeah.
All right.
When Joel was playing with tops, and Ace was fighting for his life.
Yeah. Plus, I've got a black belt in crazy. You can't beat crazy.
Oh, really? You got a black belt? Okay, I'm not messing with Nick here. Okay.
Right, we went on a bad tangent here. We need to bring this back in. Where's the S&P futures going from here? Joel was talking about a double top up there, 2011.
Double
we tried
close.
to get back up, a double close, sorry. And now we're pulling back here this morning off of a number of pretty weak earnings reports here. You think it's just a temporary pullback before the bull grabs this thing by the horns again and takes off?
Theoretically, not theoretically, fundamentally, I think we need a reason to rally a lot further than here. Yes, we bounced hard. We fell hard. We bounced hard. We can ignore this whole thing. If we ignore this whole thing, we're right around where the trend was going anyway. So from here on out, I'm more comfortable shorting relief pops and going back to shorting relief pops like I had been, and they were so successful. And the options market is still lined up a little bearish, meaning anything above 2015 is pure resistance as far as the options market is concerned for this week's open interest data. So we will need a reason to rally. ECB can be a reason, the jobs can be a reason, elections can be a reason, and it's all available this week. So if we don't run up hugely this week, then we may, let's hope that next week we will go back to trading some fundamentals as opposed to trading one headline to another. If you think about it, since the debacle when we fell hard, we had 1,000,000 headlines. It was like a death by 1,000 headlines. None of the headlines are big enough to crack the market, but all of them put together scared shook us all out, and we sold hard and we bounced hard. But we need the headlines to go away so we can continue trading some fundamentals. And maybe this week is it as far as headlines. Let's just get rid of most of them now and let's just move on. But open interest is lined. It's easier path is downwards, but not by much. I mean, there's not much room to go down. So meandering probably would be the right thing to do.
Okay, all right. We've had Nic Chahine on, and he is a Marketfy Maven, and he is author of Create Income with Option Spreads, giving us his outlook on the market every Tuesday here on Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep. Nic, thanks for coming on. We'll keep an eye on your calls here and talk to you next week.
Looking forward to it. Thank you.